The camera's on. Hi, everybody.
What's up? Welcome to the Monday Super Show. Are we live, Pete?
Yes.
I think we're live. Hey, everybody. Good morning. We got actually a pretty decent little rundown for y'all today. We're going to talk about the Magic pre-release that happened this weekend and the 1/1 ring. We're going to talk about some One Piece. We're going to talk about 10th edition. Thank you for the biddies, Necrontier. We appreciate that. And because we didn't have a chance, because I was gone, we're going to talk about the new Apple AR VR headset. Mm-hmm. And you can see up from Pete's face how he feels about this.
Yes.
Oh, so.
Hi, Kitsy Pitsy.
How are you, Kitsy Pitsy? Thanks for joining us today. We all love you. So let's jump right into it.
Oh, record.
Yes. So this weekend we had the Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering set pre-release event. And we had 2 pre-release tournaments this weekend. We started with one on Friday. We had another smaller one on Saturday. They went really, really well. And everybody was really, really hyped for this set, right? I will start by saying the art is beautiful. Even my wife, who's not a big Magic person, she was like, ooh, it's so pretty. And she went and bought packs yesterday.
Heard Pat Crinkles over there. Like, what are you doing? Nothing.
So she's starting to get into that. She really enjoys the art for this set. It's a very pretty set. There's a lot of fun mechanics with it. People seem to really be liking it. But what we're really here to talk about is this. So for those that may have missed it, there is the One Ring. Obviously, there's always been the One Ring. Now, they've got a certain set of the One Ring, which is like serialized, which is like the 300 for the elves and 900 for the dwarves and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But what Magic did was they printed one single One Ring card, right? And they've showed what it looks like, and they've said that it is going to be seeded into a random collector booster pack somewhere in the wild.
Collector boosters
specifically. So obviously we get the collector booster boxes, which are there, and then in a few weeks the new gift bundle comes out. And there will be one collector booster pack per gift bundle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the way they've always done the gift bundles.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So here's where we want to go with this. I think this is the silliest, dumbest gimmick ever.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? I mean, I get it from a like ha-ha gag standpoint, right? But why do it? Chat's saying it's for the whales. Here's the only reason I disagree. I think they're going to get a lot of whales who are going to come after it, and I think that it's silly. And here's the reason why. This thing is never going to be found. I will be shocked if it is ever found. Okay. It's going to end up in a collector booster pack at a random Fred Meyer in the middle of Iowa, okay? And it's going to end up in that pack, and that pack's going to go on clearance because Fred Meyer's clearing old stock. And some 11-year-old's going to get his parents to buy him that pack, and he's not going to know what he's opening. And it's going to end up in his pocket, and mom and dad's going to wash it, and they're going to go, oh, look, trash. And it's going to go into the garbage, and it will never be found.
As would be appropriate for the One Ring.
As would be appropriate for the One Ring. But that's why I think it's kind of mean to do to their whales and to do to their community.
So, heard a lot of speculation about, because the licensing for this was probably quite expensive.
I'm sure.
And I'm sure that they kind of had to do this to make their money back on that licensing. I think it's a great set. You know, chat saying, like, you know, aside from the whole gimmick with the One Ring, like, it's a beautiful set. It is certainly, as a whole, a step forward for Magic. Art-wise, like, mechanics-wise, my God, we can get into that sometime. These cards are crazy powerful. But, yeah, like,
what's the point?
It's a new thing. It's something fun. It's something to drive interest. A lot of headlines about it.
Yeah.
So, I don't think it's bad necessarily, but I think you're right. Some kid's going to find it.
Kelsey's saying the worst of all worlds is some bully beats up a kid and steals, rips off that kid and sells it for millions. What's actually worse What's actually worse than that is that it's some kid who thinks he has the 1/1 ring and he's just got one of the standard 1 rings, and that he gets beat up for something that's not actually even that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
Uh,
Probably so. They've gotten so much press from it. Yeah, they've gotten a lot of press from it.
Yes, and I've seen a bunch of troll stuff of people be like, I found the 1 ring. No, they haven't. My wife has actually asked me a couple of times if anybody's found the 1/1 ring card, and I'm like, nope. I keep checking. Even if they had found it this weekend, I don't think we would know yet. Because here's the thing. If, let's say it is a collector, somebody smart or a player who pulls it, and they're like, shit, I've got this. Your first call is to Magic. Your first call is to Wizards of the Coast and go, you need to authenticate this.
Yeah.
Right? You need to authenticate that I have the 1 ring. And it's going to take a bit of time. It's kind of like winning the lottery, right?
Yeah.
You know how like when people win the lottery, they're like, there was a winner last night. You don't find out who it was for like 3 weeks because that person's hiring a lawyer and a financial advisor. And, you know.
We find there's some huge store like SCG has it and isn't talking about it yet. That's possible too. I know there's a lot of stores that, like us, but to a larger scale, will open the packs to resell them.
Yeah, they will open the packs to resell. And we did. We opened 2 boxes and we resold a bunch of TCG singles this weekend out of the box.
Here's what, and I know some of you have heard me say this, you've heard me say this. Here's what you do, given Wizards business practices. If you pull the 1 ring, you call Wizards and you say, hey, I pulled it, and I know that you're selling a lot of packs over this, people hunting for it. If I announce and come forward that I've pulled the 1 ring,
they'll stop buying.
People will stop buying. So, hey, Wizards, if you want to pony up some money, maybe I'll be quiet. Now, you might think, like, that's really mean, that's really rude, and it's extortion. Yeah, but this is also a company that sent Pinkertons.
Yeah,
so, like,
I'm okay with somebody pulling that move.
I would feel bad slightly about that for, like, giving people hope and having them continue to buy those cards. But, also... So, I think
it's a silly concept. Yeah, unless you're clout chasing, you wouldn't want anyone to know it's you. Here's the thing: anybody that does it is gonna be clout chasing. Like if you come forward, it would be clout chasing. That's all it is. Again, I firmly believe that it will never be found. It will just disappear into the ether because there's only 1, right? If there was 20 of them, like. If Magic said, hey, we printed 20 of these.
You'd find 12 of them.
You'd find between 8 and 12 of them.
Yeah.
The fact that there's only 1 is what makes me believe that they're never going to find it.
If I were if I were a kid and this came out, it is exciting, but it would be even more exciting because I don't know about Wizards business practices as a kid. I'm just like, this is such a cool idea. But since I work at a game store and I kind of understand distribution and business practices now I'm kind of like, oh, well.
If you haven't found, those collector boxes are going to be worth money. Yes, if it's not found, I would say if it's not found in the next 3 months, and really it might not be a bad investment. If you were to buy collector boxes and not open them, and if it's not found, I mean, you're gambling here. You're gambling.
It is gambling.
You're gambling, but let's say you buy like 4 collector boxes, right? And it's not found in the next 3 to 6 months. Don't open them. Just sit on them.
I was going to say, you know who might have it and might not know?
Who?
Ryan. Because he doesn't open his boxes.
He keeps them,
which is how the whole Martin thing happened with that crazy card.
Yeah, so...
It might be in a box that someone just has up in their closet.
Yep. And again, and here's the thing. That's why I say, like, if you were to buy the collector boxes now, wait 6 months. See if it gets found. Because if it doesn't get found, those collector boxes are going to spike in value. They're going to be $1,000 each. Right? Minimum. Right? People are going to pay it. Again, the longer this goes on, the more those collector boxes are going to be worth on the off chance that somebody's sitting in a collector pack somewhere. That's the other option. If it's found, I don't think it's going to be found for months and months and months and months. Somebody over the weekend when we were having all the different release events was talking about they think that Magic seeded it in a gift bundle. And when they explain their logic to that, because gift bundles are going to be bought by players.
Yeah.
And collectors, right?
We have a hard time just keeping bundles on the shelf.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So, and the gift bundles are actually the same thing. Anytime we brought in the gift bundles, they're gone. We will be opening up pre-orders for those pretty soon as we know exactly how many we're getting. And I'm sure all the gift bundles will sell before we actually get them. And we'll announce that in store. Yeah, I could see the logic of seeding it in a gift bundle. It's less likely to go sit on a shelf for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's more likely to be purchased at a game shop, right, by a player or collector.
Here's something that I thought about. Given what we had, if you haven't seen the McMillions documentary on HBO about the McDonald's monopoly, go watch that. Given what happened with Fusion Strike, I have a percentage belief that somebody at the printer just took it.
So the only reason I don't think so is because there's this one, because it has the security feature on it, and because of what happened with Epilogue, with March of the Machines Epilogue Aftermath. I would be willing to bet money that a Wizards executive physically went there, watched them print the card, ensure that the security feature was on the card, because we know there's a UV security feature on it to ensure that it is. Magic has said that only a few people at Wizards even know what the security feature is, right? And it's their method of authenticating the card, and it's to prevent forgeries, which is good.
I'll take that bet.
I think that they probably seeded the pack themselves.
Maybe I would hope so, but I would also take you up on that bet. I kind of think if we do find it, that in like 3 months we're going to find out. Maybe not 3 months. Maybe in a documentary years down the line we'll find out that somebody from the printer took it. I'll bet you $20 and I'll pay you in 5 years, or vice versa.
Deal. You haven't missed much, Dad. We're talking about the 1/1 ring from the new Lord of the Rings set.
What's on the line?
I mean, here's the thing. Right now, I've seen legitimate online offers for the 1/1 ring for $2 million.
Yeah.
That's really what people are saying it's going to go for right now.
Yeah, $20.
$20? Yeah, I'll bet you $20. It didn't go to a printer.
Okay.
I'll bet you the $20. So your bet is that a printer snagged it. We'll find out in 3 months. Yeah. My bet is that it's never found. Which, as somebody pointed out in the chat, fits the allure of the One Ring. Yeah. Like, it makes sense.
Okay.
That or some kid who's like Gollum is like, my precious. And you'll just never know because it's sitting in a card in a hard sleeve in a top loader somewhere in somebody's house.
And you know what? Good for that kid. Kid, I hope that you find it whenever you're like 25 and the housing market in the U.S. is up to $2 million for a shack, and you're like, cool, I can put a roof over my head. You got it,
It's at your mom's house. So anyway, that's what we have to say. So we're going to be getting some restocks this week. Check all our stuff on Discord, or go to gamersheavenpnw.com to check all our socials. We will be getting a restock of Lord of the Rings this week. Do you think WotC knows if they seeded the exact person who bought it? No, because I don't think they're tagging it. I think they know where it went. Insofar, I think they know what distributor it went to. I'm sure if they personally seeded the pack, they know that particular collector box in that case went to wherever.
Maybe.
Went to GTS.
We also, again, given what I've learned working here with distributors and stuff, a lot of times Wizards and distributors are like, we haven't found a pallet of cards. I don't know. They're just in the corner underneath.
Yeah, legit, that might happen in like 6 months. Like, we're going to get a call from Southern Hobby. They'll be like, hey, we found a pallet of collector boosters for Lord of the Rings. You guys want to buy them for half off?
Having worked in warehouses and distribution centers, that happens a lot. They just lose a pallet, and then you'll make a box and be like, what is this over here? Yeah.
So there you go. Let us know what you think in comments sections if you're watching this on YouTube. We love you. All right.
The card's already curled.
CBB. Tell me what CBB is. Acronyms are hard for me sometimes. There's so many of them. A, I have to deal with government acronyms, and B, like...
Collector's booster boxes.
Oh, yes. We are getting collector booster boxes in this week.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll announce it in the Discord. It's right next to a pallet of beta cards and legends. Probably. All right. Topic number 2 today. Netflix over the weekend at one of the big anime cons released the One Piece live action trailer. Pete, you and I watched this trailer together yesterday while we were at the store. What did you think?
Perfectly adequate.
Perfectly adequate.
I was curious if they were going to do the Gum Gum punch or the Gum Gum arm
Uh-huh.
and, for Luffy's arm.
Yeah.
And they did do it, and it didn't look as uh, body horror-esque as I thought it might, because I was
Okay.
like, that may turn some
Look
people
really
off.
weird. Mm-hmm.
But they did a good job. They rode the line, and it's an arm stretching into like a void or a sky background. And I was like, yeah, okay, that doesn't look super weird. I mean, it looks weird because it's an extended arm, but
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think before I go off on a tear here?
I think the casting looks right. The kid they got to play Luffy looks like Luffy.
About what you could do.
Right. I think actually everybody in the cast that I saw was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks bright. It looks colorful. It looks very vibrant. Is this the new Netflix thing? Yes, this is the new Netflix One Piece trailer that they released over the weekend.
Live action One Piece.
Live action One Piece.
Show? Movie?
Yes, show.
Okay. Yeah. And we briefly spoke about this. Like I said, perfectly adequate. Kind of reminds me of what they did with the Death Note live action. Like, if you look at it in a vacuum, don't compare it to the anime, probably fine. But I saw this and I was like, if I hear praise for this, and you can like what you like, but if I hear praise for this from the same crowd that shat all over the Cowboy Bebop live action, I don't want to say I'm going to throw some bows, but I'm going to definitely point and be like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I would agree with that.
So
I would agree with that statement. I mean, it's a Netflix show, so it's going to get canceled after one season.
Yes.
Unceremoniously.
Yes.
You're going to find out after the fact that it was canceled after a season.
Or is this one where, let's just think about this, what if they do make a second season of it? Do you think maybe they will just be like, you know what, it's One Piece. People will watch it anyway. Even if they're hate watching it, they're watching it. What if this is the one of all of them that gets a second season?
I'll be surprised. I will genuinely be surprised if this gets a second season. A, because Netflix and their tendency to be like, second season, unless it's like Squid Game or Stranger Things or something bonkers. And also, this is not one of their originals, so like, it helps them when it's their originals because they make all that merchandising money and everything else that they get from making those things, right? So Stranger Things, they're not just getting the people who are watching it and having their subscriptions to Netflix. They get all that merchandising money. They get all the other money that comes with Stranger Things. Like, how many Hellfire Club D&D shirts have I seen since season 5 of Stranger Things came out?
So many.
Right, and so that's the kind of thing that I can see them wanting to keep dragging it forward. They don't own this, right? They're licensing the IP from somebody else. So it's really, really got to do well for them to be like, yeah, we're going to do it.
Well, they've got the animated series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is great. I do wonder, because we're at what, is it 1,000? A lot of episodes, right? Do we get, and I know there's adult fans of One Piece, no hate, but there's also a lot of kids. Does this become a good way for the adults, for the parents, to be like, what's this? What is the whole deal with this? Because like, there's some parents, and I know Joe, whenever his kids watch anime, he's like, I can't stand the screeching and everything. Hey, there's a live action show of this. Surely that's the same thing, and I'll watch it. And if you're a young kid, you're just happy to have more One Piece. Do you think that drives enough watch time to keep it up?
I don't know, and I know so Netflix is pretty opaque about how they measure their metrics, right?
It's true.
I honestly don't know. I think it's interesting that we keep trying to do these live action animes, right? And to me, there's always an element of the way that anime is made, the way that anime expresses things, the way the art is done, the way that they show action, that is very difficult to do live action, right? It loses something in live action, right? Which is why I think it's struggled.
How will they do Buggy?
You know, somebody in the live chat said they loved Live Bebop. I liked Live Bebop.
And it was, in my opinion, of the live adaptations of anime shows,
It was pretty good.
It was the one that captured the vibe the best.
And I love John Cho.
Yeah. As soon as it came out, I was like, this. I feel like this is Bebop. Now, could it have been an anthology of a different crew in the Bebop universe? That would have been kind of nice and probably saved it some trouble. But they captured it so good.
Yeah. They did live action Pokemon that worked. When did they do live action Pokemon? What am I missing?
When did they?
I missed something somewhere.
Live action Pokemon.
I mean, so live action. I mean, Detective Pikachu.
Oh, that is live action Pokemon.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu. I guess Detective Pikachu.
I almost went to see Detective Pikachu.
Actually, I enjoyed it, and I thought Ryan Reynolds did a phenomenal job as Pikachu. Okay, I loved Ryan.
Here's the thing.
As Pikachu.
I almost went to see it because I fell for the meme and thought Danny DeVito was voicing Pikachu, and I was like, well, I have to see this.
No, it's Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, then I decided not to see it.
He's very good as Pikachu. It's a perfectly serviceable movie. It's not hyper formulaic, but it has a formula to it. It was fun. It's an interesting take on a live action world where, again, if Pokemon were real.
Yeah.
Right? But does Detective Pikachu really count? I mean, I would count it as a live action Pokemon. I would.
Yeah.
It's about as close as you can get.
It's not called like Detective Not Pikachu or not Pokemon Detective League. It is the IP and it does have the name attached, so I would think it does count.
All right, so let us know what you guys think. If you've seen the One Piece live action trailer, leave comments. Tell us what you think of it. We are cautiously optimistic.
Yes.
Cautiously optimistic.
For those of you in chat, before we start on this next one, do you feel like the trailer, if you've seen it, do you feel like it captured the essence of One Piece, or did it kind of seem like it was just an action thing? Not much of a... Am I better now?
Detective of monsters in people's pockets.
Detective.
I feel like I like the feeling after you, the writing was mad. The writing was different than the show, and I was curious where they were going to go with it with the change they were doing it. Luffy wants to become the king of the pirates.
Yes, he's searching for the One Piece, which is the title of the show, and he wants to become king of the pirates. He is a genuinely good-natured kid amongst a bunch of pirates, which causes some conflicts because he's still a kid and kind of naive sometimes, but leads to all sorts of adventures and misadventures, and he gets a group of ragtag people together to be a pirate crew.
Yes.
If you are interested in watching it, it has been recommended to me, which I actually need to talk to you about later, an idea, to watch One Pace instead of One Piece, which cuts down a lot of the 4-minute long animation where they're staring at the screen. It condenses it and makes it a lot easier to watch. So,
okay.
Yeah. It's like a coin or something there.
I thought it was a reference to a swimsuit.
That's the thing. They don't mention what the One Piece is. There's Long John, not Silver, who buries his treasure. It's in the intro song. And then everyone's out to try to find it, the treasure.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I got. I've watched like 4 episodes.
I've got so much anime to catch up on. It's ridiculous.
It's
shenanigans.
It's kind of demoralizing because when I start, I'm like, this is cool. There's only 996 left before I'm current.
See, this is the thing that I love about Bebop. Like, when I recommend somebody Bebop, like Cowboy Bebop, the anime, right? I'm only asking you to commit to 24 episodes, right? It's not 92 seasons long. Like,
yeah.
Bebop starts, there's 24 episodes in a movie, and then it's done.
Yeah. We've talked about that before. It's kind of an older anime thing of like the 24 to 26 episode, like, nice
chunk.
Little chunk.
Yep.
That's what Evangelion was? Yeah.
Yeah. And then now 4 movies. Or 4? 3,
also
4
the
movies.
horribly underrated Outlaw Star.
Animated The Bold and the Beautiful. Nice. 24 episodes, and some of the best episodes are fillers. That is true.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes. 1,064 episodes? I mean, I know it's wrapping up in the next couple years. Maybe that's just the manga.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Love about Outlaw Star.
Samurai Champloo was good.
I still need to watch that one.
If you want Evangelion without the emotional damage, go watch Rajafon.
Okay. Right. Thank you, because Evangelion is Pretty heavy.
Evangelion is very heavy, especially once you get past about episode 10 or 11, and then there's some stuff in there where you're like, what will be done first, that show or George R. R. Martin writing? One Piece will be done before George R. R. Martin is done writing The Winds of Winter. We've covered that. Go watch that on YouTube. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move into our third topic, if there's anything you all have seen over the weekend or in the last week or so since we were last on the Super Show, and you want to hear what we think about it or our thoughts, go ahead and drop those into the comments during the stream, and Pete will grab them for chat topics.
Yes. Should I piggyback on that for our new idea? So we like doing news for you all, but also like it gets hard to keep up with, and I know sometimes you guys want to talk about like debates and ideas and stuff, and what we really want to do is kind of like capture the, as you put it, the concept and idea of chatting with people in the store about stuff, because we talk Star Wars and stuff all the time. We want to do more like debate style stuff, sort of like older content, or I don't really know how to put it, but just like concepts. So if you guys have something like Dog Dad wanting Taylor to talk about Lord of the Rings lore and stuff like that, if you have things like that that you want to, if you'd like to hear about, let us know. And I'll put it down, because that's something that we get a lot of fun out of, and also it gets kind of, sometimes we're tired of looking at gaming news, even though there's a lot of it. Sometimes we're like, hey, can we get some positive stuff? How can we talk about how badly AdMech got shafted in 10th? Well, you're in luck, because that actually goes into our next topic. Talking about how badly AdMech got shafted in 10th.
Like classic debates, Star Wars versus Star Trek. If that's something you guys want to see, we will do it. Mm-hmm. That particular topic, as far as a debate goes, I'm always very reticent to do. Scott's just some judge of Polka change my mind. I love that's funny. Again, if you have any chat topics for today, throw them down in the thing there, and Pete will grab them out of the chat. Yes, our next topic is going to be about 10th edition. I'm trying to answer a question.
Yeah. Such an apples and oranges comparison.
I don't know.
Star Wars and Star Trek? Yeah. That's, you could do multiple YouTube channels about that one.
About which one?
Star Trek versus Star Wars.
So much of it. And it's a lot of it is very toxic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Make it a different show or after news or something like that.
Not Hours of Pokemon is greater than Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So our third topic today, because we're recording, 10th edition Warhammer stuff. Finally, all of it's basically out. Mm-hmm. The core rules were released about a week and a half ago, and then late last week they released all of the point values for all of the factions and all of the data cards for the base game. So they are out. So you can actually start reviewing all of your rules if you are a 40K player. So we're going to talk a little bit about 10th edition 40K today. I did play over the weekend. I reviewed most of the stuff.
Deer in the headlights.
Actually, the other thing I'm going to say, I actually specifically have not watched some of the reactions to the new 40K rules, because I wanted to go into 40K, into this thingy, really, really strong, right? Like, not strong, and that is, I wanted to look at it without having other people tell me whether it was good or bad.
Okay.
Right? I'd like to try this without thinking, is this good or bad? So, first impressions. Army construction, 10 times simpler. Have a headquarters, do stuff, have no more than 3, right? Unless it's battle line, then you can have 9. Easy, right? There is a lot of the complexity to army building and construction is very, very different. War gear, it's all free. Screw it, right? You may as well just deck everything out, right? Just put whatever options are possible, you can put it on there, right? So just decide what options you want. You don't have to pay extra points for it.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right? So that's all good. The data cards are very, very readable, right? They're very, very readable. I like the new data cards. It makes it easy to be like, what does this thing do, right? And because of the way that they've restructured the special abilities and stuff like that, it makes it easier for me to go, I know what this does by looking at it, right?
Okay.
So those are all good things, right? I would caution anybody because I see a lot of people in the chat going, they screwed this faction or they screwed this faction. I would tell you to wait, right? Don't listen to what everybody else says, right? Don't. Not right now. What I'm saying is go play it. Go play the new version of 40K. Go look at it because looking at the data cards, like I thought I was looking at the data cards going, okay, I think I know how this is going to play out. And then I sat down and played with somebody, one of our regulars, on Saturday, right? And I said, oh, there's certain things about this that are definitely playing different than I thought they would. It does play slightly faster, removing an entire phase, which first off, the psychic phase is something that half the armies don't use anyway, right? Regularly, right? There was only a couple of armies that were really heavily reliant on psychic, and so they were guaranteed to have a psychic phase. I've played entire games where nobody ever did a psychic phase the entire game. Having them come up in other phases makes sense, and that you have it done in the appropriate phase. In fact, I would say Premier Psychers are a must-take for Astra Militarum now. People should do things. Yes, I think that you should experience something before you review it. Played a pretty normal combined arms list for what I normally play for Astra Militarum, just as a test. I went a little heavier armor than I normally have been lately. And it was, dude, armor is heavier.
Yeah.
Heavier this time. The one faction I'm worried about being overpowered because of this is actually Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, because their toughnesses are all going to be 12, 14,
Just their armor, everything.
Yeah, and so at tournament level, I worry about them because everybody can't build a list that just specifically goes after Knights and then fight everybody else. So I will be really, really curious to see. I have a feeling those are going to get nerfed really, really soon.
Okay.
That's my hunch.
And you said that vehicles,
and again, Knights, vehicles, all the stuff that's armor, like the toughness on these things being where it is now and where you can wound, and it doesn't seem like it, but the difference between wounding on 3s and 4s in the old system versus wounding on 5s now, like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It took us 3 turns before the first tank left the board.
Wow. Okay.
Like, no tanks were destroyed in the first 2 turns at all.
That does seem like a
like plasma and las cannons. No, because the problem is that plasma and las cannons, for the most part, wound things on 5, right? A las cannon is wounding on 4 now, and plasma is wounding most armor, like Lehman Russ is on a 5. No, just don't move for guard. Yeah, it really, really does this. Again, I would say don't say who gets borked until you play it. I know we all want to be like, we got screwed or I got yay. You know, I would say wait. I need to sit down and read the full AdMech thing. We got a lot of people in the chat talking about AdMech. I need to review the AdMech data cards to tell you what it is.
Now,
so
the 10th edition rules were released, right? But
yes.
We're still getting codexes later.
Right? Codexes will come later. Phil's theory is that they're doing the way that they're doing right now, so people can really learn to play with the basic like faction rules and things like that.
Okay. Because he called it like a hard reset.
So here's the thing. If you played 9th, you're not going to have a hard time. The biggest issue that I've got right now is learning and remembering, like, lethal hits, sustained hits, devastating wounds, right? Anti this, and where does that apply? And, you know, it's funky. You know, it's a little funky. But it is, there's nothing about it that if you played 9th edition, you're going to have too much trouble with.
As someone who did not play 9th edition,
I think I had a very easy time.
Okay. And the changes that you're talking about, for me, as someone who's like kind of starting to dip my toes in and wants to start playing, those changes all sounds like they weren't BSing whenever they were like, we want to make it better for new players, because it does sound easier to get started, because just building an army as a new player with, say, orcs, right? And maybe I'm thinking a couple of editions back, but it was like if you put like shoulder pads on too many of the orcs, they become hard boys, and that's additional points. And then like points balancing, that would get to where it's like I don't really. This is taking the fun out of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be less of an issue.
Okay, good. Oh.
Again, I need to sit down and read some more of the data cards. I've deep dived on the Eldari, the Ashmiltar, and then I did a deep dive with one of our regulars on orcs. Do these changes remind me of what they did with Fantasy to Age of Sigmar? I honestly can't answer that question because I did not play Warhammer Fantasy. I wish I could answer that question, but I honestly don't know.
I mean, Fantasy required the units to move kind of like in Total War, right? In like
chunks.
You couldn't spread them out or however, and that's been changed.
Good for you, Age of Smegmar.
Age of Smegmar.
Wow.
I
don't care for how haphazard some of the data cards are. I mean, I don't think they're haphazard. The only thing that I'm annoyed about is that the Forge World stuff has not been released yet. I also don't like the fact that we don't know. I think that they need to be a little more transparent about what of the Forge World models are going to be moving to plastic, which they said some of them are going to move to plastic and out of Forge World, and what's going to come to, what's going to go to Legends.
Right.
Because I would really, really like to do that.
Someone mentioned a lot of stuff moving to plastic rather than resin. Remember when
that's the way they're going.
We did the video a few months back of GW's recycling program.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, what's going on? What's this leading to? Well,
yeah,
I think we kind of have an answer on that now, and it's cool to see it happen.
Deathcore have no option to take the Deathcore med pack. They have Deathcore. The Deathcore gets the med pack. Looking at the data card, I actually am thinking about buying some Deathcore of Krieg, as much as I hate those models, because I think they're going to be a must-take for the meta. I really, really do. I think it's really, really going to be... resin is much more expensive. So again, I would encourage you to come in and play 10th edition. The launch box comes out this weekend. Come in and play with us. Phil and I are going to be in here on Saturday, working through 10th edition with people. Isn't resin just... Yeah, it's just a different type of plastic. But we call it resin to differentiate.
It's a more poisonous version of plastic.
Waiting for anything on organized play. I'm sure you're going to see it soon.
Do we get new rules for Kill Team, or is it still...
No, this is just 10th edition.
Okay.
This is just 40K. Kill Team's still operating under... Because Kill Team's under 2nd edition right now. They're in their 2nd edition right now. And if you want to talk about a hard reset, like... From 1st to 2nd, like it's a vastly, vastly different game. 1st edition Kill Team was 40K light.
Yeah.
It really was. It was very, very similar to 40K. Whereas the new version of Kill Team is not 40K light.
I haven't heard many complaints about Kill Team rules, so I don't imagine they'll be in a rush to change.
I mean, it's GW. So
me as a layperson, it's
GW. Somebody was like, somebody this weekend was like, I hope they keep 10th edition around for a while. It'll be around for 3 years, just like every other edition. Like, it will be here for 3 years. In about 6 months, GW will start working on 11th.
Right. My 3D printer uses resin. You just have to make sure that it's ventilated. Somebody came in this weekend, yesterday, and told me about these little clip-on charcoal filters that help out with that. So
okay.
If I find one, I'll let you know.
So yeah, again, come in, see us this weekend. We're going to be running some 10th edition. I do like the fact that the data cards are free. The last thing I will say on this, like I saw the release stuff today where they were like, you can buy the data cards and you can da-da-da-da-da. And literally everybody I've seen in the store this weekend playing 10th editions already printed them out and laminated them. And like, it's like, you realize you guys aren't going to sell any of those data cards. You're going to sell like 4 because they're free online. Why would I?
Well,
why would I bother?
That's been the biggest complaint I've heard about Warhammer. People are upset about buying the models. They understand you're getting a physical thing, but they're like, but every time I buy a codex, it's not like it's cheap. It's like $50, and then I got to buy another one for each edition and data cards. That's the biggest complaint I hear. And now if they're eliminating that, which would be them holding true to their word, good, thank you.
Yeah. I also don't think we're going to sell. I don't think we're going to buy. We're probably going to have to take a list. The new, like the hardcore rulebook set. We'll buy one for the store. But if you want those, I think that's going to be a special order because I'll be honest. I'm not going to. Yeah. It's terrible. Now, my understanding, they put out something that they said that the data cards PDFs will be updated as they go. So as the codex is released and everything else, the data cards will be updated.
Good.
So I really think they're going to hold to that. You're not going to need it, right? So good for them.
So binary answer, real quick. Good move? Yes, no.
10th edition?
Yep.
No, but not because I don't like the rules.
Okay.
No, because I think that they moved into 10th edition too soon. I think because of COVID, right, and because of everything that happened, because 9th edition came out right before COVID.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think that they should have given this another year, especially since the Astra Militarum and the World Eaters Codexes had literally just come out earlier this year.
Yeah.
And now, because this is a hard reset codex, like when they went from 8th to 9th, the codexes that hadn't been reprinted for 9th edition were still valid. All of the what's it called? The campaign books and the stuff that were add-ons for 8th edition were still valid going into 9th because 9th was not a hard reset, right? So you didn't have to wait for your codex in 9th to continue playing at a reasonable level. With the switch from 9th to 10th edition, the fact that 2 of the codexes dropped within the last 6 months and that they've already switched, I think was a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
I really, really wanted them to wait a year.
So let's say, take that out. In a vacuum, the rules change. Good direction, bad direction.
I think it's a good direction. If you are legitimately trying to get people into 40K, I think it's a good way to go. I still think they've got a 2-3 year freaking push on this because, and we talked about this in the go back and watch this on our YouTube in the Warhammer versus chess thingy, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's something that we've talked about in relation to Magic and Warhammer, and maybe we'll do like a long topic on this another one of these days. I don't know what Wizards of the Coast regarding Magic. I don't know what Games Workshop regarding Warhammer. I don't know what they do to remove the stigma of these games are too hard.
Yeah.
That they are not approachable for the average starting player, right? Because no matter what they do, they're stuck in this position of crap. How do we get that going, right? How do you get rid of that stigma for these games? I know that I talked to a lot of people. In fact, I talked to somebody Friday night, and we can go ahead and stop the recording and just do this as a side thingy.
I can split it into 2 things.
Because this is going to be short, but I talked to somebody Friday night, and they came in, and we were doing the pre-release event for Magic, right? And I was there with Magic Taylor, right? Our great, and I'm going to shout out Magic Taylor. He's our awesome Magic the Gathering judge.
Dude.
And he is such a phenomenal person, and we really appreciate all of the time and effort he spends to make sure, and he assists us greatly, especially our big pre-release events and stuff like that, that these really go off without a hitch.
Yep.
And he's so good at organizing the tables and getting everybody settled and everything else like that.
Also, low-key, amazing role player.
Really?
He caught me off guard, and I couldn't role play super well because I was so like, whoa, you're killing me. So while we're complimenting Magic Taylor, there you go. Also amazing role player. But yes, you were talking to him.
Anyway, we were talking to a new person, and it took us a good 5 minutes because they were like, I kind of want these because I really love Lord of the Rings, and we were like, well, do you want to play in the event? And they were like, I just started playing Magic again like a month ago, and I still don't get a lot of the mechanics and da-da-da-da-da-da. Thank you for the bits, Necron.
Thank
and
you, dude.
It legit was him and I talking to this guy and be like, look, this is the time if you want to get in on like a competitive event.
Yeah.
Because nobody's got tuned decks. Nobody's in there with this thing that they've been working on for 2 years, this commander deck, and da-da-da-da-da. It's simpler, it's easier, it's a much more even playing field. And the problem is that Magic and Warhammer still have this stigma. And actually for good reason. Like, I just started playing Commander a little while ago. Yeah. I'm a new Commander player. And while I understand the base mechanics of Commander, I'm getting, just raffle stomped every time I play. Because there are so many players who, even if they're not like pro tier, still have been playing Commander for this much longer.
Yeah.
Where I just can't compete. right? Like,
that's how I feel.
there's just no way.
Yeah.
Right? I joke now, and again, to me, it's a joke. It's one of these days I will win a Commander game. One day I'll win a Commander game. But now I don't. Somebody in the chat brought up, if you have a good community, it's great to play against new players. You get to be a helpful player. Yes, and there are some great people who I've been playing with who are great in our community, and some people who legit will be like, I have a deck that's not crazy tuned, da 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 da. It's a fun deck, and they will play me with those decks knowing that my deck is not hyper tuned and stupid and things like that. And they will take out decks that they know are not that.
I think it's why Oscar has like 40 decks, because he's got like tiers of them. He's like, okay, we're not up here. I'm gonna bring it down to here.
Well, so I actually played with him last night as you were leaving the store.
How bad did he beat you?
Me and Brandon, so it was a 4-player game. Me and Brandon and Victor had a really great time watching Oscar and that other guy play Magic. He was playing.
That sums it up.
He was playing his new Nazgul deck.
Oh, lordy. Okay, yeah.
He was playing his new Nazgul deck, and the other guy had this commander who was just. I was like, and I told the guy, I was like, look, dude, because he was. So here's the thing too, and this is something I want to put out to the community. There's something I love about Oscar, and I said this about Oscar last night. When Oscar beats you, he's not an asshole about it.
No.
Right? He is doing it in the idea of, I'm teaching you to play.
Yeah.
And he doesn't lord it, and he doesn't turn into a jerk about it. He's very, very like, no, we're learning together, you know?
Oscar's a good coach.
He is.
I will give him that.
And then there's other people who are not good at that, right? And it's like, dude, you're playing with a new player. Don't pull out the dude that just fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's not fun for me, right, to lose that way. Somebody in the chat just brought this up. And I tell people this all the time. I don't have a problem losing games. I lost my 10th edition game on Saturday.
It's how you learn.
I don't care about losing. But if you're one of those people that's like, you're going to lose and you want to kick me in the balls about it at the same time, like, I don't want to play with you.
Yes.
Right? And so really what I love is, like, again, Oscar. Oscar will play you without that attitude, and I really, really appreciate that.
We switched from Warhammer Magic. It was a
soft one.
There was a point about, 10th edition and bringing it around to Warhammer, and I think what it was like essentially...
We're talking about new players and making it a better environment for them. And Magic is a good analog to Warhammer in that both of them are viewed from the outside as exceedingly complex and not fun for new players to get into. And it's how we fix that.
I look at it as, and this is the way I think about it with Magic, because there's so many new terms and stuff that come up, and it kind of started to get that way with Warhammer. I look at, like, if you've ever worked in food service back in the kitchen, scraping the crud off the grill and getting back to the grill and not cooking on top of the crud. Like, oh, this is getting pretty bad. And then, boom, burger's cooking fast.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yep. Somebody in the chat said it. If you wreck new players, they won't, and they come and get spanked, you have to slyly tie one hand behind your back sometimes to make it fun for them. Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. All right. Our last planned topic for today. We didn't get to talk about this while I was gone.
Get ready, chat.
Get ready. So, a few weeks ago, we did a thing where Pete educated me about VR, right? Because I was mistaken about some VR stuff. And then, while I was gone, Apple unveiled their new AR/VR, because it's both, headset. Right? Yeah. And I looked at it, I was like, oh man, I wish I was there because I want to talk to Pete about this. So I'm going to let Pete start on this, right? So Pete, go to town.
Okay. Technologically, good step forward for VR. Good job. You did it. The issue I have, man, I wish I could stand up and pace right now because it really helps me with my thinking and calm myself down.
I do too.
Apple is the reason why cell phones are over $1,000 now.
Yes.
Before the iPhone X, the whole glass thing that didn't even work that well, phones were max $700, $800. I know that because I got the Pixel and the Pixel 2, like the flagship one, and I spent $700. And at the time, I was like, $700 is a lot of money. Apple getting into the VR headset space, yes, it pushes technology of it forward, but $3,500? VR headsets now, and people thought that the Steam one, the new Vive, the Index, they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Apple going so far forward now, you're going to see the normal price for VR headsets, even like Quest stuff, get closer to $1,000 because
You think
of
so?
this. Yes. Apple, while pushing some technology forward, also does the price and inflation creep. They've done it on so many things, and I love that I got the Meta Quest for $300. The Meta Quest 3 is coming out. Thank God before this thing releases, otherwise it would be $800. I think it's gonna just, if I'm fuck up the pricing of the VR headset space. Now maybe we get low tier and higher tier like flagship phones, and I see chat going crazy, but I'm not gonna read it just yet. We're gonna have more tiers instead of low tier, high tier. We're gonna have in betweens. But damn it, $3,500, and that's my irritation about it. Light toss over to you.
Okay, so to address some of the things that are being said in chat right now, Apple doesn't sell tech; they sell lifestyle. Yes. Now here's the thing. In full disclosure, here's my iPhone.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had an iPhone for 11 years now, 12 years now, and I stick to iPhone. Now there's a reason I am in there, because I'm in their ecosystem, and I got locked in the iTunes days. Thank you, Daniel, for all those
Jesus,
subs.
Daniel.
There is, I've been locked into their ecosystem for a long time, and I'm just never leaving. Here's the thing that I would say about it. First off, from a technical perspective, it looks beautiful, right? I was looking at the
Yes,
renders and the pictures of the new head strap, and I was like, oh, that actually looks like I'm not going to want to kill myself wearing it.
Yes.
I've also had a lot of fascination, and the reason I like this product is I have always loved AR stuff. Not just VR, but that augmented reality piece of it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Where there's stuff around. Where I could be walking around, like FaceTiming with somebody, right? While walking around and getting a cup of coffee without having to hold my phone.
Yes.
Right? And yes, Apple absolutely sells lifestyle stuff, things like that. Now, to address, somebody else in the chat said, this is a solution looking for a problem. Look, the initial thing, and this is very similar to, do you remember when Microsoft, they were going to release their AR headset?
Yep.
Right? And the issue is, for the cost that it takes to build these things and the R&D cost on them and everything else, they're trying to find business solutions, right, for these, because the people who will pay for them is, if I'm a business and I can somehow find a way to cost justify where this is going to save us money in the long run to have these AR sets, right? And again, to me, the argument is it's not enough better to make it worth it, right?
Right.
I can't find, and again, I put myself in the mindset of my old corporate life. How would I cost justify buying one of these? You can't count when DARPA buys a bunch of HoloLenses, because DARPA buys a bunch of random whatever. It's DARPA. I barely do that.
I could see a business use case for it.
I can't.
So whenever...
That's the problem, is I can't see the business use case for it. Which is, again, who's going to spend $3,500 on this? Because right now, Apple does offer lower tier stuff. And you see deals where you can get into the iPhone ecosystem for cheaper and things like that. You have this early entry stuff so that later you can get the cheaper things, right? You can go buy an iPhone. They sell brand new versions of like the last gen. They still sell those to keep people into the ecosystem.
It works like fashion, I know, because if you've seen The Devil Wears Prada, she makes a good point, and it is a known thing in fashion, that what you see on the runway, it might not necessarily go to market or be sold, but that is where the cutting edge of fashion is done, and then it goes down the tier to the point where you can buy a sweater off the rack for $20 that was a brand new
I remember that
thing,
sequence,
cutting edge 2 years ago.
Yep.
And tech works the same way. But coming right out the gate at $3,500, I mean, it's just what Apple does. But as a former IT person, I can see businesses adopting this thing because
one of the issues that I used to have is working with HR, their setups, because they'll need certain screens. They look at a lot of information, and you'll have to get like a polarization filter for their screens so no one can see it. And it may be comfortable for them to have that on and just have a little overlay. And
Yes.
they may spend the $3,500, like just a little extra, so that they know that there's no chance that anyone's going to see that data.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Here's the thing. To just Devil Wears Prada is a great movie, and if you haven't seen that film,
It is good.
you are missing out. Okay.
It is
Meryl
really
Streep
good.
absolutely crushes it.
Of course she does.
Crushes it in that film. Anne Hathaway's great, and I like the fact that it kind of ends badly.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not an entirely happy ending. So anyway, back to the thing. Yes, at the event, people audibly gasped and groaned when they heard announced the price. I'll be honest, that was the most surprising thing to me. When I was watching, when I heard the keynote, I was like, I was expecting something in the range of 2Gs.
I was expecting 2,500, but Calvin told me 3,500, and I was like, hang on, there's an extra 1,000 in there. And Calvin told me that the audience were laughing. I was like, as they should have with that price point.
Again, 2,000 seems about right to me.
Yeah.
I would even go 2,499. I think probably.
But here's the thing.
Probably reasonable.
Is it
3,500 is seriously limiting their market, and they have to know that. Apple's not stupid.
No. They're just comfortable selling a desktop for 17,000. There are definitely some points where it's just, I can understand a premium price point up to a ceiling, and then they just seem like they blow past it frequently. Also, what kind of storage does this have for that cost?
I haven't finished looking. Let me look at the specs. Hang on really quick.
The specs are impressive, I'll give it that. And you said that the head strap is over-engineered. And I think that's a good thing, actually, because a lot of VR headsets, and somebody with an index, please correct me, but I know with a lot of Oculus stuff, the head straps are a problem. I had to get a sweatband to help suspend, otherwise it'd start getting a cut on the bridge of my nose, stuff like that. But it looks like they've made just a straight one strap with a little twisty.
Yeah, it's got a little twist thingy to do it, and the strap. Like if you look at the strap, the back of the strap at the very back, like it's kind of a bowing shape. Like it's that.
It cradles your head.
It's like that thick. At the back, and I'm like, that's a good design.
It is, and you actually, for the Quest, maybe not the 3, but for the Quest, you actually have to buy a modified or an aftermarket thing to cradle the back of your head to make it more comfortable. So.
See, like a lot of their marketing here, I don't understand, because they're trying to market this again at business where it's like, do FaceTime. It's like, here's the thing. It's not that much better of an experience than just having Zoom on your monitor. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Again, it has to be. I'll give you an example. When people were asking me in Identica, they're like, "Why don't you have a laser gun?" Aside from the fact that they're not scientifically possible in an atmosphere, the issue is this: the reason certain technology doesn't advance or doesn't get used is the cost of it. The increase into technology has to be equal to or greater to how much better it is than what I already have. Okay. Right? The best example I can use for this is the M250 caliber machine gun, right? The Army's had this thing in the inventory since the end of World War I. Mm-hmm. We've made improvements to it. We've done some things to it, but nobody's ever replaced it because every time they try and get a replacement, the cost to replace it, the amount that would be, they don't see that value. It's not that much better, right? So why not just stick with what we've got, right? And so I'm trying to see, it's going to be their custom chips.
And that's another thing is
it's got a new OS.
Yeah.
More pixels than a 4K TV. Eye tracking, sensor array.
That's something I want to hit on.
Okay. It's a unique dual chip design, enables spatial experiences on this. It's got a powerful M2 chip simultaneously running Vision OS and then an R1 chip. Here we go. So it's got a LiDAR scanner and true depth camera. Infrared illuminators.
How do you power...
Thermal system. Jeez.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's going to get warm. How do you power two... They said more than 4K, so let's go with 5K. How do you power two 5K screens in a package that small. I know the battery only lasts for 2 hours, but even still,
Now, it is unlimited if it's plugged in, and I imagine they're going to release a plug system for it that's going to...
I saw and I was looking at it. It looks like it probably has a magnetic induction charger. Because I was like, well, what's the cable coming off of it? And it said 2 hours of battery life.
So it's a battery. No, I saw somewhere else, you can just leave it plugged in.
Yep.
Like you can use it sitting at your computer doing something.
I will be curious how that heat vents off and how comfortable will that be for extended.
Again, I think you and I are probably in the same boat where it's if this thing was a little bit cheaper,
yeah,
I'd probably buy it.
Yep. And
just for the experience.
Kelsey made a good point in chat. Could it help with medical stuff or industrial engineering things? I was talking with Unity a few years ago, and one of the things that they said was that they're really working towards being able to have applications to train people on surgery without actually having to do the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about my current VR headset, and I was like, there's screen door effects, and like, how are you going to be able to see? With a screen like this, you can see better to do those virtual surgeries and train. So I could see that being a thing. Plus, it's less in the way because it is a very sleek headset. Mm-hmm. So you can practice doing your surgery without feeling like you have a robot around you.
You could probably put like a little dummy down on a thing and use the augmented reality piece of it to basically map that dummy and do that kind of surgery and stuff.
But
they're going to use this thing to broadcast mind control like Jim Carrey's Riddler. Maybe.
What do you think, chat? Does anybody want to buy it? Or, thank you for the biddies, Necrotier. Appreciate you, buddy. Main issue I see with Apple VR, they haven't said...
Having an informal HUD could be great in certain situations. The problem is like, Google tried to do it with Google Glass with an augmented reality kind of concept, and everybody hated it from a social aspect, right? The informal HUD, like, if these glasses... If I could walk around and have like a little HUD in these glasses, it would be great.
Yeah.
I would love it. But the tech's just not there. You're not going to wear the Apple face headset outside in a place where an informal HUD would be useful.
There's a page on the Vision Pro site that has the lady that they have wearing it, and she looks like she's sitting on the couch having a conversation with somebody because you can see someone's shoulders. I'm like, take that fucking thing off. Nobody's just going to sit on the couch and be like, yeah, I see. You interrupted my computer usage, and I'm having a conversation with you. I was like, this looks so dystopian and weird and awkward. Please.
Again, I'm trying to see the use case for it.
I don't make enough to buy it. There you go.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's a luxury item. The people who are going to buy it initially are the people who can afford to just shit $3,500.
Glass hole. Great job pushing technology forward. Wish the price wasn't what it was.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yep. Hopefully the Apple Vision 2 will be like $2,000.
The Apple Vision S. That's my price range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get it eventually. Again, there's something fascinating to me about augmented reality, and I really, really want it. But yeah, I'm not there yet.
You know what this means? This means Samsung's close behind. You're going to see a Samsung one in 2 years.
Probably. Here's the thing. I'm torn, and again, like for Identical, we wrote a lot of AR stuff, and I love the concept of augmented reality. I really do. I don't know how it works. It's hard for the long-term use case. 5K is my bet. See them ever going down in price. I do. You never know.
Sales.
Anyway. So that's what we think about that. If you want to hear more about us talking about VR, go back and watch our YouTube video where Pete educates Alex about VR. And so it was good. Anyway, all right, on to chat topics today. Again, we've got a few minutes left, so if you have any chat topics, because this first chat topic is not going to take me long. If you have any chat topics, dump them into the chat either on YouTube or on Twitch, and we will address them now. First chat topic, why are people so upset over Witcher Season 3? Pete, do you know?
Is Henry in this one?
Nope.
That's it.
I mean...
Sorry.
The biggest thing is Henry Cavill's not in it.
It's Henry.
Any word on the Directors Guild contract? Yes, the board recommended... The Directors Guild board, negotiating board unanimously recommended approval, and it's going to be sent to the members for the final vote. I don't know. Oh, is he in season 3? I thought he wasn't in season 3.
Then it's probably because it's his last season. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Like
his
I
last
don't
season,
want.
probably. I mean,
I don't want to just be super simplistic with my response, but I think most of it centers around Henry and people being upset with behind the scenes stuff that they know now.
yeah. So the Directors Guild contract will go out to the membership for a vote. I don't know if it's going to be approved because there's a lot of crossover with the WGA. And the WGA is very upset about this, the contract that was offered to the Directors Guild, because a lot of what they gave the Directors Guild is what the Writers Guild wants.
Ooh.
And so, again, there's, it's like watching DC. It's like, why watch a show when you know what's going on? And that would be my guess with Witcher Season 3, is that they all know Henry's leaving. I mean, it's not a secret. So, I struggled with The Witcher.
There's a topic there, and come on, you guys are supposed to know this stuff. I haven't watched Witcher.
Look, I am a prodigious consumer of media because of what I do for a living on multiple levels. And then, but yeah, some stuff it goes by me.
There's a lot of the new Valheim update. Yes, Valheim's getting creative mode and world modifiers.
Cool.
That's a big deal. So here's what I want to say something about the season 3. If you've seen it, feel free to toss in chat if you've seen it and if you like it. There's some bleed over, and as I want to do, I compare a lot of things to pro wrestling.
It is your favorite comparison.
It is my favorite comparison. It's so apt for so many things. So there's a thing in pro wrestling where there's a lot of entertainment in what's not on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes more so than what's on the screen.
Okay.
There is, if you go to Squared Circle subreddit, it is a lot of I'll just say circle jerking about behind the scenes stuff and theory crafting, but very little talk about the current product and what's being presented. There's memes that Mal and I share back and forth about, like, someone has somebody in a headlock and it has backstage drama on the guy giving the headlock, and the guy getting the headlock is me just trying to enjoy professional wrestling. It bleeds over, and sometimes it bleeds over into storylines, into pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But my point in comparing that to pro wrestling is sometimes what our information that we have access to is too much for the backstage of things, and it can end up ruining the stuff that it's about and what we want to watch. And I think that's
what's happening with
Witcher. I think that's what's happening, and I think it happens with quite a few things.
Extraction 2 of Black Mirror. I talked about the Black Mirror episode, and I thought about doing it as a topic today, but I thought it was a little too niche for the new episode 1 of the newest season of Black Mirror. It's one of the very few Netflix shows that's managed to make it past a single season.
Sparsely.
And apparently the first episode is like, really, Netflix, you made this? Because this really makes me want to cancel my Netflix subscription. And not because it's disturbing or wrong or anything like that, but it's the premise of the show is this woman's going through her life, right? And then she goes home and she's watching a reality show. And what happens on this show, not even a reality show, this sitcom-y thingy, what happens in her life that day, then that night she's watching it and it's the exact same thing in her day. Second day comes and the same thing happens until she starts doing ridiculous things to see if that's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And it does. And then she goes and looks at the terms of service of her streamer, right? Streamberry. And in their terms of service, it says that they're allowed to use your life as creative fodder for shows that they make you.
So they did a modern dark retelling of The Truman Show.
But worse.
Which,
yeah.
If you haven't seen it, amazing film. Go watch The
And
Truman Show.
Also, yes, it was very apropos for the writer's strike, because it's like, what do we need writers for? We'll just take your life and feed it back to you.
Yeah.
Black Mirror is very hit or miss for me. I think there's some phenomenal episodes, and I think there's some episodes that are a little too clever for their own good. Some of it is deeply disturbing and sick. Some of it's really, really good.
Wasn't the first episode the politician and the pig?
I think so.
Yeah, that actually turned me off from watching Black Mirror. I didn't get into Black Mirror for like another 3 years because of that episode. I was like,
Nope, yeah, we're not doing this.
You're starting.
As for Extraction 2, no, I didn't watch it because I this is a personal thing, and I'm not here to yuck anybody else's yum. But cool buff guy operators operating operationally, like it's just not my. It's not my shtick these days.
Jack Reacher.
There's got to be something extra about it that will make me like cross that threshold.
I mean, you experience people in situations like that for a large portion of your life, so I'm sure it's similar to the body cam stuff and like Afghanistan shooters. You're like, I'm fine. No.
And again, anybody who knows me, I have a personal rule. I don't watch movies about wars I was in.
Yeah.
And so I have not seen any of the movies that have anything to do with the modern global war on terror. I refuse to watch them.
It's just new.
Don't like how some of the episodes, but see, so the thing about Black Mirror and getting away from that concept is like Twilight Zone, all of these anthology shows always stray a little bit, right? Love, Death, and Robots, right? Which, again, is one of those anthology shows that I watch, and it's very in my opinion, the episode is either really, really good or it's just bad.
Interesting. I love Death, Robots.
So do I. I like the series overall. There's ones that I'm just like,
I know you don't like the one in the water with the lady, the siren, or maybe that's Phil.
No, that was me. Jiangxi, or whatever that episode was called. Mm-hmm.
I loved it from a visual standpoint.
I think it's visually very good. I think that it is not entertaining at all.
It was a little long.
And again, it was a little too much.
Fair. It hit really hard. Cool buff operator operating operationally.
It's very on the nose.
I apologize to you all if I just summed up the problems with things in a fairly concise way and didn't give anybody any room to discuss.
Oh man. Yeah. I'm a prodigious consumer of media because again of what I do and have done for a long time.
Yeah.
I've done variety streaming, talk show streaming for 3-4 years now, and then this one.
He is so plugged in. He'll come in and be like, "Hey, did you see Fart Snacks review of Fart Snacks McFart Snacks Batman Deep Dive?"
Tomorrow we will be discussing, and you all should go watch it because we will discuss it tomorrow. The Red Band trailer for Kraven the Hunter just released, which is the newest Sony one in, I think it's going to be in the Venomverse. I'm pretty sure, but don't quote me on that. But it's a hard R. Oh boy.
Good.
It's going to be violent.
Kraven, so
yeah.
try living.
Yes, it's going to be violent. So yeah, go watch the Kraven the Hunter trailer. We'll discuss that tomorrow. If you're in store, give us stuff to do. We're going to start doing some more evergreen topics. We're going to do some more debatey, like Pete said, debatey style topics. Not so much. See, debate is always, especially in the terms of the internet, is always.
I would say
long form discussion.
Long form discussion, or like almost like video essay. I watch a lot of video essays. I find them fascinating. I just watched one the other day about Goosebumps, the Goosebump books. And what happened there. It's like, this is fascinating. So stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you guys put stuff in chat that I have to look up because I'm like, that sounds really familiar, and I just need a quick.
Yeah, I love picking the brains of you guys. Like, and we still had one.
Oh, the TV series. Wow. What?
What?
Benioff and Weiss are doing. Oh, wow. Benioff and Weiss are doing a TV series based on the 3 Body Problem books.
Oh.
Huh.
What? Kelsey says you're welcome. Thank you.
A debate on hobbies being expensive. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad discussion to have.
I'll write it down.
Canada Dry 86 is my spouse, Dog Dad. Here's the thing. I think Three Body Problem would be an interesting thing to see turned into a series. I hope that it improves on some of the stuff in the books. I don't think Benioff and Weiss are the best people, and I'm going to have to look at the trailer, are the best people to be talking about Chinese culture and the Cultural Revolution. Maybe not them.
Execution questionable?
Here's the thing. Again, and without going, because we're gonna jump off stream here in the next couple of minutes.
Yes.
There is a distinct difference between cultural appreciation, cultural appropriation, and things like that. I believe that if you were trying to tell a story that has to do with a distinct aspect of a culture that is not your own, right? Mm-hmm. You should be exceedingly careful and maybe not do it. Right.
I think.
And again, especially if it's something that has a deep, distinctive meaning within that social political structure, I am very.
You should have people very familiar and part of that culture, and quite a few of them with you advising.
Yes. And so, and given who's making this show, I don't trust them to do that. I will look at the trailer today.
Hints of Matt Damon's Great Wall movie.
So the difference is that Matt Damon's Great Wall movie was made by a Chinese film company. It was made in the Chinese market by Chinese people. They wanted Matt Damon because he's famous in China.
It's a name to attach to things.
To their big thing. People made fun of that movie, and I'm like, no, I mean, that's Chinese cinema. Like, that's their thing. Like, there is stuff, and actually I get very frustrated with certain Western audiences when they look at certain foreign films and be like, that's and they're very much looking at it from a cultural lens, from their own cultural lens. Whereas in that cultural lens, it's you got to look at it very differently. So there's one funny movie, and it's a Jackie Chan film.
Oh boy!
And it's goofy. It's the and there are some hilarious sequences. It's the.
He says, "I wonder what those people thought of Triple R."
Kung Fu Yoga.
I need to see that. Oh. What the hell?
Okay. And if you were looking at Kung Fu Yoga through a Western lens, you would say that is one of the most offensive things you have ever seen in your entire life. But what you have to do is you have to not watch that movie through a Western lens. Because that movie was not made by Westerners. It was not made by American film people. It was made as a collaboration between Chinese and Bollywood film companies. Okay. And again, in a Western lens, it looks really freaking goofy. Mm-hmm. Right? But again, this is again something we tend to do in our culture, right? Where we tend to put our values about social equality and social inequity and things like that onto other cultures.
Yes. And
we've got to stop doing that.
There's a fine line, for sure.
So, Kelsey, are you saying Kung Fu Yoga was a masterpiece? Because I would generally
I think
agree.
Kelsey's saying RRR was a movie masterpiece. It's like a 3-hour action Bollywood film.
Oh, RRR. In fact, because that won Best New Song at the Oscars this year.
Good for them. I still need to watch it. It's been recommended to me by no less than like 20 people.
Yes, I've been meaning to watch more than chunks of it. Yeah. I want to watch Kung Fu Yoga now. Here's the thing. It's a funny movie. Again, you have to look at it from the right cultural perspective.
Yeah.
You can't, but it's very funny. It's very, very funny.
I'm a fairly irreverent person, so a lot of times things like that, I'm just like we just binge watched Righteous Gemstones.
I will after the stream. I will show you because there is a very classic Bollywood song and dance sequence at the end of the movie
Yes, I love Bollywood song and dance.
with Jackie Chan
Yes,
and a
my
bunch of
God.
very famous Indian actors, and it's great. So, anyway, come join us tomorrow. We are doing some programming changes. So we are going to do, what are we doing this week? We're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday Super Show.
Yes.
Yes. So that's the change. So we will be with you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday mornings so that we can hang out with you more. So come in the store. Come see us at Gamers Heaven or PNW. Go to gamers7pnw.com. We should be seeing some updates to the calendar today. We got a bunch of video game stuff coming. We love you all. Thank you all for hanging in with us. All of our new chatters, we really appreciate you too. Thank you again for the gifted subs and bits.
Yeah.
We really love you guys.
Thank you.
Again, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. See you later, TikTok. I see you, whoever's there in the chat.
Da da da.
Da,
The
da,
end
ding
song.
song.
It's the ending song. Something, something. You know what? Let's go watch some Bollywood stuff. Yeah. Couldn't make anything rhyme right there. We'll get
Yeah.
around to it sometime. It's the ending
Ending
song
song.
today, and I hope you have a great day. Yeah. I used day 2 times. But yeah. Alex says bye. Bye.
Bye.